Hello everyone. I hope you people are doing fine. In this video, we'll be talking about energy. And this video is the second video of the chapter of work, power and energy. Those who haven't watched the first video, I want you to go ahead and watch the first video and then come back to the topic. Energy. Energy can be defined as the ability or the capacity of a body to do some work. Let me explain this with one example. If I have a cricket ball and I'm going to keep this ball close to the stumps, what is going to happen? Exactly nothing. But in the second case, I'm going to keep the stumps and I'm going to throw the same ball on those stumps. What is going to happen? Yes, the stumps are going to fall. So what is making a difference in case 1 and case 2? That in the first case the stumps are not falling, but in second case the stump falls. Why? Because in the case 1 there was no energy in the ball, or the energy was not sufficient to do that work. The capacity of that case, the energy in that case is not sufficient to break the stems or to move the stems or to make it fall. But in case 2, the energy was sufficient to make it fall. So, energy of a body is the amount of capacity or the ability to do some work, right? Now, energy is measured in joules and energy is a scalar quantity, alright? I hope this much is clear to you. The next topic, which is power. Power. Now, what do you understand by the term power? The power can be defined as rate of doing work. Power can be defined as rate of doing work. Good. The formula for power is P is equals to W upon T. W by T. Where P is power, W is work done and T is time taken. Okay. Let's move on. This is the first formula. We can derive another formula by using this formula. See, power is equals to, you know the formula for work done we have done in the first video. This is F into S upon T. Now here F is force, S is displacement. I hope this much is visible to you. F into S upon T, where F is force, S is displacement and T is time taken. Now, you know the formula, displacement upon time. It can be written as, velocity is defined as displacement upon time. So, in place of these two, I can write power is equals to F into V. This is the second formula which we can use. Power is equals to force into velocity. And here, velocity is average velocity. Now here, as velocity is average velocity. Now by using these formula, the first one and the second one, we can say few things. Power and work done. Power is directly proportional to work done. Power is inversely proportional to the work done. Power is directly proportional to the force applied, and it is directly proportional to velocity, the average velocity. I hope this much is clear to you. Also, the SI unit of power is watt. Now the next topic is, we have different forms of energy. There are different various forms of energy in which energies can be used, like solar energy, heat energy, geothermal energy, hydro energy, electrical energy. There are different types of energy. I have given a list of energies in the description box in form of notes. Go through it, read it, learn it. Alright, I have given in the notes form. Now let us talk about an energy which is kinetic energy. We are going to study in deep two types of energy. First is kinetic energy and second is potential energy. So we are going to start with the energy, kinetic energy. Now what do you mean by kinetic energy? See, kinetic energy is the energy possessed by a moving object. Alright, it is by the virtue of its motion. Alright, I have also given notes in my description box. There is a link and you get a set of notes. Alright, so we are going through kinetic energy. The formula for kinetic energy is half mv square. The formula for kinetic energy is half mv square. Now let us understand this. There are three types of kinetic energy. First, translational kinetic energy. Second, rotational kinetic energy. And third is vibrational kinetic energy. With the name it is very clear. Then also I will explain. Translational kinetic energy. When a body is moving on a straight path and this body possesses some energy, yes, because it is in motion. So when a body is moving on a straight path, this energy is known as translational kinetic energy. Second, rotational kinetic energy. When the body is moving on a circular path and it is moving, so it will have an energy. So this energy is known as this energy is known as rotational kinetic energy because it is following a circular path and it is moving. The third is vibrational kinetic energy. See, when a body is vibrating and it is moving, vibrating, that means it is moving. So this type of kinetic energy is known as vibrational kinetic energy. I'll give you an example for each. Translational kinetic energy. A car moving on a straight path. This body is moving on a straight path and so it will have an energy, and it is moving on a straight path, so it is a kinetic energy, and we'll be calling it as translational kinetic energy. Let us take an example of fan for the second one. So the blades of fan are moving on a circular path, right? It will have an energy and it will be called as rotational kinetic energy. Let's take the example for the third one. If you ever have struck guitar string, when we play a guitar, what happens? Its strings vibrate. So a sound is produced because of this. So this is an example for vibrational kinetic energy. I hope this much is clear. So the next topic is work energy theorem. Work energy. Theorem. Work energy theorem. What do you mean by work energy theorem? It is very simple. See, work energy theorem means whatever work is being done in a body, on a body, then this work will be equal to the kinetic energy gained by the body. I repeat, when we apply a force to a body, a work is done. In that case, this work will be equal to the kinetic energy gained by the body. Now, there will be three cases. If the work done is positive, it will result into increase in kinetic energy. It will result into increase in kinetic. I don't know whether it is visible or not. See, when the work is positive, this will result into increase in kinetic energy. This is first case. Let us take an example. If a boy is moving and if I am going to push him, then what will happen? His speed will increase, his kinetic energy will increase. So this is an example of when the work done is positive, because I am applying a force in this direction and he is moving in this direction. Let us take another example. A box is kept, and if I am going to apply a force and it is going to move, that means a positive work is done, and this will result into the kinetic increase in kinetic energy, because the box was lying at that particular time, the kinetic energy was 0, but when it starts moving it will gain kinetic energy, right? So with the positive work, kinetic energy will increase. Case 2, when your work is negative, this will decrease the kinetic energy. When you are doing a work in the opposite direction, obviously the speed will reduce. If velocity will reduce, the formula says half mv square. So velocity decreases, automatically kinetic energy will also be decreased. The third case, case 3, when work done is 0, that will result when work done is 0, that means kinetic energy is same or remain constant. The kinetic energy will be same as it was before, or it will remain constant. I hope this much is clear. Now we are going to derive the formula for kinetic energy, which is half mv square. So this is a derivation to get the value. Let's start. We know that work or W is equals to F into S. This we know. So this is the first equation. Alright, I hope this is visible to you. We also know that F is equals to mass into acceleration. This also we have studied in 9th class. So F is equals to m into a. This is the second thing. Now, if I will get a value of acceleration, how can you start directly? No. One, two, three, start. Now let us derive the value of kinetic energy, or the formula of kinetic energy, which is half mv square. Now, let us assume a body with whose mass is m and moving with velocity v. Initially, its velocity is v. Now we applied some force because of which it travels at the distance s and then it stops. So the final velocity is 0 and the time taken is t. Alright. So this force is applied because of which it stops and the displacement is s. Now because of this force there is a work done, and that work done will be equals to the energy possessed by a body. Alright. So this work done will be equals to the kinetic energy. Alright. So let us start doing the derivation. We know that W is equals to F into S, force into displacement. We also know that F is equals to mass into acceleration. We also know that F equals to mass into acceleration. So this is our first equation, this is our second equation. Now, can I find the value of A? Yes, using equations of motion. Minus v square minus u square equals to 2as. This equation we have already learnt in class 9. I hope you know it. Okay. So here the initial velocity, which is u, was v, and the final velocity, which is v, was 0 because the body was at rest. Acceleration is a, but it was in negative direction because the force is applied here and the body was moving here. So it is causing a retardation. So we are going to take negative acceleration, and the displacement is s. Let's put the values. So final velocity is 0 minus u square is equals to minus 2as. You know why I am taking this minus? Because it's a case of retardation. Okay. So this 0 will be gone, this minus sign and minus sign will be gone, and u, in place of u we have this final velocity as v, we assume as v. So in place of u I can write v square because we assume v. So v square is equals to 2as. We got this value, v square equals to 2as. Can I get the value of acceleration from it? Yes, we need to find. So the acceleration from this will be equals to this s and 2 will go that side, so it will become v square upon 2s. V square upon 2s. Now what I am going to do, I am going to put this value of acceleration, I got this acceleration as v square upon 2s. Now what I am going to do, I am going to put this value of acceleration in equation 2. Okay. So let's put the value in equation 2. I'll write here also value of acceleration on the top so that it will be visible for you people. I got the value of acceleration as v square upon 2s. Now I am going to put this value in equation 2. So putting the value in equation 2, I got F is equals to mass into acceleration, which is v square upon 2s. So I got the value of s as v square upon 2s into m. Okay, now I'm going to put this value in equation 1. I'm going to put this value in equation 1. So putting the value in equation 1. So I got W is equals to, in place of F, I'm going to write mv square upon 2s into s, which is already there. Now I can see s and s got cancelled, and I told in the starting this work done is equals to the kinetic energy. So I can write, in place of work, I can write kinetic energy is equals to half, because 1 by 2 is left, into mv square, half mv square. This is the formula for kinetic energy. Again, this is a form of energy, so the SI unit of kinetic energy remains same, it's joules. Alright, and the higher unit is obviously kilojoules. So the next topic is potential energy. What do you mean by potential energy? Potential energy is the energy stored in the body. Alright, it can be defined as the energy possessed by a body by virtue of its position or configuration. Let us take the example. Alright, first, because of the position, this is also called as gravitational potential energy. Gravitational potential energy. Everything I have given in notes also. Okay, so gravitational potential energy. See, you might have, if I am going to assume this as a hammer. If I am going to keep this hammer on the ground, what will happen? Does this hammer possess some energy? No. But if I am going to lift this hammer up, now this hammer got some energy. This is the stored energy. Now if I am going to hit this on a nail, it is going to work. Why? Because this hammer got some energy stored in it because of the position. Its position was on the ground first of all. Now I have lifted it up, so position changes. So because of the position, this energy is stored, which is called as gravitational potential energy or potential energy. Let us take another example of the same. You might have seen dams. In dams, what happens? The water is stored because of the walls, and on the other side, this water comes out from a height to a turbine. So on this side where the water is stored, what actually we are doing is we are creating a potential energy for the water. Now this potential energy is converted into kinetic energy later, or rotational energy later. Are you getting? So this is called as gravitational potential energy or potential energy. The next topic, the next thing is elastic potential energy because of the configuration. As I said, configuration means because of the change in shape and size. Let us take an example of spring. If I am going to compress a spring, at this position it will possess some energy, the stored energy, which is because of the change in shape, because of the configuration. This energy is called as elastic potential energy. I hope this much is clear. Potential energy is represented by U, and the formula is M into G into H, mgh. I hope this is visible. Potential energy is represented by U, and it is mgh. Alright. So the next topic is potential energy. What do you mean by potential energy? Potential energy is the energy stored in the body. Alright. It can be defined as the energy possessed by a body by virtue of its position or configuration. Let us take the example. Alright. First, because of the position, this is also called as gravitational potential energy. Gravitational potential energy. Everything I have given in notes also. Okay. So gravitational potential energy. See, you might have, if I am going to assume this as a hammer. If I am going to keep this hammer on the ground, what will happen? Does this hammer possess some energy? No. But if I am going to lift this hammer up, now this hammer got some energy. This is the stored energy. Now if I am going to hit this on a nail, it is going to work. Why? Because this hammer got some energy stored in it because of the position. its position was on the ground. First of all, now I have lifted it up, so position changes. So because of the position, this energy is stored, which is called as gravitational potential energy or potential energy. Let us take another example of the same. You might have seen dams. In dams, what happens? The water is stored because of the walls, and on the other side, this water comes out from a height to a turbine. So on this side where the water is stored, what actually we are doing is we are creating a potential energy for the water. Now this potential energy is converted into kinetic energy later, or rotational energy later. Are you getting? So this is called as potential, gravitational potential energy or potential energy. The next topic, the next thing is elastic potential energy because of the configuration. As I said, configuration means because of the change in shape and size. Let us take an example of spring. If I am going to compress a spring, at this position it will possess some energy, the stored energy, which is because of the change in shape, because of the configuration. This energy is called as elastic potential energy. I hope this much is clear. Potential energy is represented by U, and the formula is M into G into H, mgh. I hope this is visible. Potential energy is visible by is represented by U, and it is mgh. All right. The next topic is law of conservation of mechanical energy. Before starting this, let us revise the law of conservation of energy, which states that energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. It can only be transformed from one form to another. In the same way, this law also is applicable. But before starting this, you should know what is mechanical energy. The mechanical energy is nothing but the sum of potential energy and kinetic energy. Alright, when kinetic energy and potential energy are combined or summed, then it is called as mechanical energy. So according to this law, it is very simple. Whenever there is an interchange between potential energy and kinetic energy, then the total energy, the total mechanical energy remains same if there is no frictional force. If there is no frictional force. I hope this much is clear. So the next topic we are going to do is theoretically proving that this law is true. Alright, so the next heading is theoretical verification for law of conservation of mechanical energy. For this, what we are going to do, we are going to derive an verification. Alright, so we are assuming a body, we are assuming a body with mass m which is falling freely. Okay, in that case we are taking three cases: first, second and third. Alright, initially the body is at height h. Then we are going to take second case when it travels a displacement of x. I hope this much is visible. This body with mass m was initially at a displacement of h, a distance of h from the ground, and in the second case it traveled a displacement of x. Alright, so we are going to prove that in all the three cases the energy is same. I am going to take this energy as E1, this is E2, and this as E3. Alright, so let us derive this equation, or let us prove this. First, E1 will be equals to, as I told you, mechanical energy is equals to potential energy plus kinetic energy. So potential energy plus kinetic energy. Over here, the kinetic energy will be equals to 0 because the body is at rest. We are just holding it. Alright, so if velocity is 0, that means kinetic energy half mv square will be equals to 0. But potential energy, I just told you the formula, it is mgh. So here the mass is m only, gravitation is g and it is at a distance h. So we are going to write h, the height is h. And as I said, kinetic energy will be equal to 0. So we got E1 as mgh. So we got E1 as mgh. I hope this much is clear. Let us take the second case, case 2. When the body reached somewhere in the middle. Now this one is very important because for E2, at this particular time, it will have both potential energy as well as kinetic energy. Potential energy as well as kinetic energy. So let us find kinetic energy first. So as you know, the formula for kinetic energy is half mv square. We know the mass, but we don't know the velocity. So we need to derive it. How we are going to derive it? We are going to derive it with our equation of motion, the last equation, v square minus u square equals to 2as, where v is final velocity, u is initial velocity, a is acceleration, and s is displacement. This is s. S is displacement. So let's find it. The final velocity which we want is v square. Initial velocity, the body initially was at rest, so it is equals to 0, equals to 2. Here acceleration is acceleration due to gravity, so we are going to take it as g. And look here, s is the displacement. So if you look at the figure, how much displacement it has done, it has covered. So it is x, we assume it as x. Therefore, in place of displacement, we are going to write x. Let's solve it. So v square will be equals to 2gx. I hope this much is visible. V square equals to 2gx. Right? Now, we got v square is equals to 2gx. So we will be able to find kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is half mv square. So half, in place of mass, I am going to write m only. In place of v square, I am going to write 2gx. Let's solve it. Half 2 and 2 get cancelled. So kinetic energy equals to mgx. This is our kinetic energy. I hope this much is clear. Now, as I said, in this case we have both kinetic energy as well as potential energy. So let us find potential energy for this case. Alright. So potential energy, as I said, it is mgh. Mass into gravity into height. So it is, mass is m, gravity is g. But over here, look at the figure. What is the height? The height will be from this position to this position. Now the total height is h and this much is x. What about this? Can you find this height? Yes, it will be h minus x. So this height will be equals to this height. The height from here to here will be h minus x. The total height subtracted by this much. So in place of h over here, I am going to write h minus x. Let's solve it. It will be, open the bracket, mgh minus mgx. So here E2 will be equals to u plus kinetic energy. Potential energy, just we got it. So mgh minus mgx plus kinetic energy. We have just derived the value which is mgx. Now you can see this is minus mgx, this is positive mgx. So they will get cancelled. So the final E2 will be mgh. So we got the second energy also as mgh. Let us do it for the last case, third case. Okay. So case 3, when the body reached the ground. Now when the body is on the surface, as you can see, E3 will be equals to potential energy plus kinetic energy. Now when it is on the ground, the potential energy will be equals to 0. U will be equals to 0. Why 0? Because height over here will be 0. It is on the ground. So m into g into h, m is 0, multiply by any number, it will give 0. So U is equals to 0, but still we need to find kinetic energy, which is half mv square. Sir, we just got the value of v square over here. No, that is different. That was velocity when it was here. Now the velocity will be different because it is free falling. So we need to find v square, but the matter remains same. V square minus u square equals to 2as. V square only we need to find, so in place of v square we are going to write v square. Initial velocity, it was 0 because it was at a height at rest, so it is 0, equals to 2. Acceleration is acceleration due to gravity, and s, now look here, s is the total distance covered from here to here, so that will be equals to h. So in place of s, this time I am going to write h. So v square, let's solve it, will be equals to 2gh. Now you know the formula of kinetic energy. So kinetic energy will be equals to half into m into v square. So in place of v square we are going to write this value, 2gh. 2 and 2 cancelled, we have mgh left as kinetic energy. So here we'll be finding the value of E3. Now tell me, E3, obviously it will be mgh. Why? Because as I said right now only, E3, potential energy is equals to 0 and kinetic energy we just got it, mgh. So E3 will also be equals to mgh. Now from this we can easily state that E1, E2 and E3, all the energies were same. Hence this verification is done. As the law says, the total energy remains constant, the total mechanical energy remains same. So we have derived, we have proved that E1, E2 and E3 all are same, hence verified. I hope this much is clear. Now this theoretical part from the chapter is done. I'll be putting a worksheet, and in the next video I will be explaining how to solve few numericals and few logical questions. Alright, but I have given notes, set of notes in description box. Even I have given some worksheet questions. So I want you to do these questions and submit me on the email ID mentioned in the description box only. Alright, hope you people got it. So bye bye, do well and take care.